Hello everybody, my name is Stratnos, and welcome to my weekly vault video. We've got another week of good vaults here, filled a lot of slots across the week. Although a lot of my characters just have kind of one M plus row, so that's going to be some gambling. Up first is my Paladin. Now my Paladin is sort of my main, although it's a little bit lower item level than my DK. This is the character I killed Gallywix on. Now last week, we picked up an Eye of Kazan out of the vault, but this week I only will have one Mythic Raid slot in the vault, and then 2 Keystone slots. So it would be pretty good to get something that goes in one of the slots that I don't already have Myth Track in. So Necklace, in fact, if we can just get a Mythic Track version of the Strapped Rescue Keg from Cinder Brumetery, that would go kind of crazy. Shoulders could be cool. A Cloak would be good. Boots or gloves would be really good. The Jaster Diamond would be... I'm not asking for much, just a Jaster Diamond with maybe a tertiary, and maybe one of the sockets already on it as well to save me some gold. Not asking for too much here. A mythic version of this Chrome Bustable Bomb Suit would be cool as well, so I guess we're going to go loot spec Prot to make sure that we can get that, because that is actually a good tank trinket that's in our pool here. Or the Galley... I think there's a Galley Tech limited edition tank trinket or tank weapon thing, so... picking up one of those could be pretty cool as well. But we only have one slot at it from the raid slots, because I only did a 2 out of 8 Mythic on this character. So let's see what we got here. Okay, Mythic Gloves, 655. That's definitely pretty good. We've also got 662 uncatalyzed ones. That's less good. Or a Remnant of Darkness, which is also less good. So yeah, we'll take the gloves. This is not a jackpot hit here, right? The best thing we could have found would have been something higher. Like, I guess Jaster Diamond would have been the best thing, right? At this point... You know, this is a 665 in that slot. Only myth 2 out of 6 is not... It's not the most, like, crests that I could have gotten out of the vault there. But there was a good chance that I ended up having to take a socket out of that vault. So it's good that we didn't have to. And then this week I should actually get more tries at it. That's the thing, though. There's sort of this thing where... Later in the patch, you get more and more likely that you're going to have to take a socket. The good news is my Paladin still has a bunch of sockets that it needs. And the other good news is this week we're getting another Spark. So a lot of my characters still have a bunch of places that Gilded Crests can go. Even if they don't get Myth Track out of the vault, even if they have to take sockets, I can just use my Gilded Crests on Spark Crafts. And that's actually basically as efficient as upgrading a 662 up to 675, right? It costs you 60. It costs you 60 Gilded Crests to do that, or it costs you 60 Gilded Crests to just craft one. So as long as you... I mean, obviously, if you can get something better than Myth 1 out of 6, if you can get Myth 2 out of 6 or better, then you're super happy. But if you're opening just Mythic Plus slots in the vault, you know, crafting is equally good, even if you end up then taking a Myth piece in that slot later. You haven't cost yourself any crests, unlike last season, when it was 90 Gildeds to do that. And it was, you were losing Gilded Crests each time you crafted, which felt pretty icky. Okay, here's my DK. My DK did 6 bosses of Mythic. I thought I wouldn't be here for Raid this week, or last week, and then I ended up being able to make it back in time, so I was able to actually do Raid, but I'd already done it. I'd already done a 2 out of 8 on my Paladin, so I did the whole up through Bandit on my DK, which means I've now killed Bandit on this character, which means, yeah, Loot Spec Unholy is good, because I don't have Mythic Bomb Suit in my pool yet, which is kind of the only tank trinket thing I'd want. Best in slots would be really good. The Rick Reverb necklace would be really good. Other than that, like Cloak and Bracers would be fine. Ooh, House of Cards. That's a strong trinket. Not particularly strong for Blood Decay. Like, it's an on-use 90-second mastery trinket. This is unbelievably good, I believe, for Unholy, which I don't really plan to play on this guy, but, you know, there's a world where maybe I would like to do a little bit of Unholy action on this guy. Ooh, Crit Haste Avoidance Ring, an Avoidance Ring with a socket. That's also pretty exciting. My rings right now are pretty good. Cersei Circlet and Jaster Diamond normal. Man, and then there's the Crit Haste Racing Flag, and there's also a Viscera of Coalesced Hatred, which is definitely not in consideration. All 3 of these are pretty exciting. So the Racing Flag is probably the most obvious, like, just direct upgrade. Myth Track in a slot that I don't currently have Myth Track in. The Fated Championship Ring is also that. It's higher item level as well. It is replacing Cersei's or Jaster which is not necessarily good. It's also a crit heavy ring, which is going to be good for damage, not especially good for... I mean, it's not as good as haste. Haste is really good for sand lane damage this time around. So this is maybe not ideal stats. It does have avoidance. Avoidance is nice. Or there's House of Cards. House of Cards is also really good. This is really good for Unholy. This would be what I would be taking. Like, if I wanted to do some Unholy Keystone action, this plus a Pacemaker is probably a pretty sick combo to use. All right, I've done some thinking. I've also looked at this a little bit in the perspective of item level jumps. The funny thing is, even though these three are different item level, I guess only the championship ring represents multiple steps up, right? All these other ones are just one upgrade past where I currently am in those slots. I'm going to go with the House of Cards here. The championship ring is definitely cool. It's definitely good. This would be better if I never wanted to play Unholy, I think, to just pick up the bigger item level jump, a nice avoidance piece. But I think House of Cards, it's just so good for Unholy, and I maybe want to play some Unholy this season. I don't know. I'd like to keep the option open. I'm never going to get assigned to House of Cards in Raid. There's a good chance this character's not going to kill One-Armed Bandit again for a while, although I'm going to try and kill Gallywix on it. But yeah, I'm just going to take the House of Cards. I feel like this is one of those trinkets that's so good, even though it's not for my spec. And it's only 15 less gilded than taking the championship ring in terms of getting my character up to 675, getting that Gilded of the Undermine achievement. So I'm willing to take a little bit of a hit there. Both my rings are pretty good as well. They're lower item level, but like they're both, funny rings with cool effects. So yeah, I'm going to take the House of Cards. That item's good. And then I can maybe play some Unholy this season, and that would be pretty good. All right, up next is my DH. My DH did 2 out of 8 Mythic and 1 plus 10 Keystone. So we've got 2 rows in the vault that could be good. And then I filled out with some delves. I've been doing my 3 tier 11 delves on most of these characters to get the Gilded Crests, because it's a good source of Gilded Crests. If you do 3 tier 11 delves, one of them with the map. Either you drop the map from the first 2 or you use the Wave Scrambler on the third. That's been my strategy. And that gives you 31 Gildeds per week just from the delving. So a very good income of that. Loot spec can be Havoc. That's fine. Don't really want anything tank, on the tank table. Let's see what we got here. Myth Track gloves. I currently have Hero Track, so that's an upgrade. Or Myth Track pants, where I'm currently sitting on Champion Track. Now, it does look like my pants are currently an off piece. Right now, they've got avoidance on them and verse haste. Very good stats here. This is a little bit less exciting stat-wise, crit mastery. I could catalyze in this slot. If I were to do that, though, that'd become mastery crit, so even worse. So I guess I do want my pants to be my off slot. Now, I know Styx Bunk Junker drops some leather pants as well. It's the same ones that I have on verse haste. And I also know that nobody in my raid needs these anymore. So I could just start trying to kill Styx on my DH. That presumably wouldn't be too hard to do. And then I could, pretty quickly pick up these things on Mythic. So for that reason, I think I should just take the gloves instead. Gloves are a lower stat budget slot than pants. But also, this is a bigger crest save, right? This is 665 instead of 662. Both of them are upgrading 658. Yes, this is upgrading Hero Track, whereas this is upgrading Champion Track. But given that I'm not interested in spending Gilded Crests on a Hero Track item anyways, there's no difference between Hero and Champion Track for me. So I'm going to take the gloves, even though it's a slightly worse stat budget slot. And I could get more value by investing Gildeds into pants than I can by investing them into gloves. I'm still just I'm gonna grab these and then, again, hopefully pick up that Styx off piece. And bring this character to a Styx kill, which it shouldn't be too hard. Blood DK is what I've been playing on Styx. On all the Styx kills I've done so far, it's been Blood DK, but this week we're getting up to that 6% buff. I think those ads are going to die quickly enough, even without a Blood DK gripping them under boss. And VDH has Sigil of Chains. Prop Paladin has Divine Toll. Both of those should be pretty effective at, quickly grabbing and grouping those territorial bombshells, so... yeah, I'm not too worried about my ability to get in on that boss. Okay, here is my Monk. My Monk did not do a 2 out of 8, just did a key. So Really hoping for something good from the key slot here. A weapon would be ideal. If we don't see a weapon, we're crafting a weapon this week. In fact, we're not going to take these bracers, I don't think. They are myth track, and I do not have myth track in that slot, but I have crafted into that slot. And I don't really want to bother with like taking something that's potentially 3 eye levels if I invest, some gildeds to get a little bit higher eye level in my bracers. It's mastery haste anyways. If it was verse crit, I'd maybe be thinking about it. And then, yeah, we've got kind of nothing here. So, yeah, we're going to take the socket, and then I'm going to craft a weapon this week with my 4th and 3rd spark on this character. So, yeah, sad socket adding device. Grab one of those, put it in the Adrenal Surge class, because this item is going to stay on this character pretty much forever. And then I don't have a gem, so this should be verse crit probably. Let's see, verse crit. Crit verse crit. Yeah, I could make a Onyx or Emerald, but I think we'll just do another. Let's see, how am I doing on the diminishing return? Looks like I'm not into the diminishing returns on either verse or crit. The add-on that does this, by the way, is called True Stat Value. It puts that little bar up, and it shows you when you're approaching the point where your stats start to DR. And I'm not there on verse or crit. I'm going to go with a Deadly Sapphire. Get a little bit more verse than crit. Both of these stats are good. It's kind of hard to sim. The crit's probably going to be more damage, but the verse is probably is a little bit better for surviving difficult mythic-y kind of encounters. So I don't know. This doesn't really matter. You could make an argument even for getting and like getting an Onyx or an Emerald in here for a little bit more movement speed. Although movement speed isn't really something that monks need because you got roll. I still like movement speed on monk even though you have roll. I feel like being able to position a little bit quicker and not having to necessarily press roll can be nice for some bosses. So I tend to be in favor of movement speed on more characters than I think most people. I think most people would play just the crit effect one on the monk, or they'd play movement speed and they wouldn't even put a second color of gems in. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to if you can make a little sacrifice and get 2 or 4% movement speed. I tend to think that's a good deal, even on quite mobile classes. The crit effect would also be good, though. I mean, Brewmaster stacks a lot of crit, so the crit effect would get a little bit more value than it does on a lot of other characters as well. So, for instance, my Warrior I have crit effect on, although I feel like Charge and Leap are just so... Like, Charge just always takes you exactly where you want to go, so that's part of why I don't value movement speed as much as the crit effect on this character. It's not really a big deal. If I was actually playing either of these characters for Mythic Progression, then I would be thinking more about it. Okay, loot specs arms, that's okay. We just did 1 key on this character. An arms weapon would be fine, but mostly we're hoping for just like helmet, something like that. Instead, we're going to find a Grim Codex. Now, I don't think this is a particularly good trinket. I don't know for sure, but I don't recognize it. Anytime there's a trinket that drops from the M+ row and you don't recognize it, that's usually a bad sign, because most of the good M+ trinkets, people farm a little bit, and then you recognize it because somebody's going after it. And Grim Codex, I don't believe, passes that test, nor does it look particularly good just on the eye test here, right? This is a 662 trinket, and it's a 90-second on use that deals, like 1.6 million shadow damage when you click it. A little bit more in AoE, right? Like you're maybe getting up to 2.6 million shadow damage if you've got 5 targets there, something like that, 6 targets. Still not particularly poggers, so I don't think I'm going to take this for use. So the question now is, do we take it for 15 Gilded Crests, or do we take a socket? I don't actually have a great socket target currently. I guess I do have Myth Track Bracers. So if I were to take socket, it would go into Myth Track Bracers. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll do that. It's not the end of the world. There's a chance I'm going to end up crafting into bracers on this character. I guess I'll probably craft into belt before I do that, though. So yeah, we'll just throw the socket in the bracers. Whatever. Again, this character is not a main, not something that I care too much about, like super min-maxing. It's more just I want it to be good enough that if I swap into it for a raid reclear to try and gear it, that it's not bad. So this is the biggest like short-term upgrade. What do we got here? We got a Deadly Emerald in and 2 Versatile Rubies. Okay, let's get a Deadly Sapphire in. How's that sound? Or maybe a Quick Sapphire. A Quick Sapphire, yeah. because I think I need more haste on this guy. I think I've got too much crit and not enough haste on this guy. I think you want about 25% crit on Prot Warrior, because that's where past that you're not getting value on your set bonus. Like your shield slams are already guaranteed crit at 25% crit during Luck of the Draw, so I think I'm going to aim for about 25% crit, but I don't care enough to change my existing gems on this character, so that's the Warrior. All right, now we're entering the non-tank section. Oh, wait, nope. Just kidding. Let's see my Druid. I've got a little image off to on my side monitor here. Let me show you guys, which shows you all the vaults that I take a screenshot of this before the end of the week, so that I can look at this during the video. But it organizes by item level, not by the order on my login screen. Usually the two correspond pretty similarly, because I kind of put my characters in order of priority on my login screen. But my Druid has got better eye level than my Warrior currently, even though it's lower on that. My Druid is kind of eating good this season. I got 2 great trinkets on the myth track here and a mythic weapon. So really already doing pretty well. We just did the 1 key. Oh, and the 2 out of 8 on this character. So a lot of good options actually that could pop here. This isn't particularly one of them. This is. Myth track shoulders. Yeah, pretty happy about that. I've got Leech champion track ones right now, so I'm always a little bit sad to see the tertiary go, but you know, you compare the tertiary here. We're dropping 706 Leech for 1.2k stamina, 129 agi, and then a little bit of armor, crit, and mastery, and then the ability to upgrade it, you know, way past that. So this is maybe a side grade at this item level, but it's definitely going to be an upgrade once we can actually put some crests into it, which maybe isn't right away. Maybe I want to do some crafts first on this character. Like maybe craft a 675 cloak with my next gilded, 675 necklace with good stats, maybe before I start dumping into the shoulders. The thing about crafting is that crafting gives me another slot that's bad to see in my vault, so I'm kind of tempted to delay my crafts until later. But the other flip side of that consideration is that if I craft now, that I'm not wasting crests, right? Because it's 60 gilded crests to do a craft, and that's going to be true even once I get a character to 675 and I get that achievement. But if I upgrade items now, that will be cheaper once I get my achievement. So it makes sense to sequence things. There's things pulling me in different directions, right? If I craft early, then I can get griefed in my vaults more easily. But if I upgrade early, then I'm wasting crests. And if I craft early instead, I'm not wasting those crests if I would end up crafting in that slot anyways. Of course, eventually, ideally, you just have 2 crafted pieces on and then a bunch of upgraded myth track in every other slot. But realistically, a lot of these characters aren't going to get, you know, full myth track in every slot. That's probably only going to be 1 or 2 of my tanks, depending on how the season goes. Although, you know, it's a pretty easy raid, so maybe I'll be able to kill enough raid bosses to make that not true. Okay, here's my Mage. My Mage did 2 keys, as you can see. We've got the Operator's Mitts here, which would be a Catalyst target, I believe, or the Ringmaster's Cummerbund, which also upgrades a... So I think I'm going to go with this belt. The gloves are definitely good. I mean, it's good to catalyze into some Myth tier, but Mythic tier actually drops from Cauldron of Carnage in the glove slot, and this is a very puggable encounter. This character's in some danger of griefing and showing up in some 2 out of 8 runs, you know, 656 already. I think I'm going to go with the belt. The belt stats are a little bit better here versus haste, especially if I do end up wanting to play some fire on this guy. I desperately need more haste, but even playing arcane, I need some more haste. So yeah, we'll grab the belt, upgrade out of this one, and reasonably happy with that. Up to 657 now. Trinkets are in a decent situation. Rings are in a decent situation. I need to get a new necklace, and the big problem I have is I don't have tier on this guy still. I need to find tier helmet, and so I need helmet and chest piece. I could catalyze veteran chest piece, but I don't even have a helmet to catalyze yet. Hopefully I can get one for my delves this week, because I really don't want to catalyze my shoulders. My shoulders are haste heavy, and they catalyze into not haste heavy, so I want that to be my off piece. So that's my plan for this character. Yeah, this thing is pretty fun, though. I've been having a lot of fun actually playing arcane in some keys. Maybe I will pick back up some fire for if I do this in raid at all, but I don't know. Arcane seems fun. It seems pretty good. They buffed it by a lot. A couple weeks ago, it caught an 8% buff. And the damage in keys, there are some bosses that it just feels incredibly good at. Like, you go do Dark Flame Cleft, that first boss, you can just do so much boss damage because there's always infinite adds around, and you do so much funnel damage on that spec whenever that's true. Okay, here's my Shaman. My Shaman just did the 1 key. Now, I've got a lot of slots that would be big poggers on this character. The biggest would be Pants. If I can get Myth Track Pants, we are eating good here, because this character's in another situation where I have a Mythic tier slot, and I really don't want to catalyze out of crit haste into whatever garbage stats are on the chest piece. So yeah, I need Pants badly. I'm currently still running 2-piece right now. Pants would be huge. We're not going to find it. We are going to find Verse Crit Cloak, though. These are the stats that we're looking for on Resto Shaman. Crit, I think, would be a little bit better than Verse, but Verse is nice too. Either way, can't really complain. Whenever you've only got 1 slot in your vault, you can't really complain. So I feel pretty lucky, because this was the first week that I've ever taken the socket this season. We're already into April, and I didn't have to take a socket for all of March, which is pretty good. So Leeching Fangs is the enchant we're looking for here. And yeah, I've been having a lot of fun on Resto Shaman. I've done all the delves on tier 11 as a healer now. It's been I don't know, it's a little bit weird. Delving as a healer, I guess it feels sort of like doing other content as a healer, where you just sort of hang out and wait for the tank to kill stuff. Obviously, I'm doing my own damage as well, but like most of my damage as a healer in delves comes from the healing brand makes him pulse AoE damage if it's effective healing. So it's kind of fun. You try and pull big enough that Bran is always going to need healing, but not so big that he gets killed and then you die. So that's a fun little mini game. I don't know, I think the healer delve thing, it's nice that they added Tank Bran. That's definitely a good addition to the game. So here's my Rogue. My Rogue, actually in a kind of decent slot, right? I've got Myth Track Pacemaker, Champion Track Signet, fully upgraded, 2 good weapons, or 2 crafted weapons. So what we'd like to see out of the vault here, even just a dagger would be fine. Then we just replace one of these and, save a bunch of crests. Still get a nice 678 dagger. Even 3 item levels on main hand is definitely pretty valuable. But the big slots that we're looking for are necklace, or yeah, I guess it's mostly necklace. I have Veteran Track Shoulders currently catalyzed. I did a little oopsie on this guy where I have an off-piece Myth Track Pants, and I thought this was another character where I was trying to not catalyze that. Turns out it wasn't. Catalyzing these pants is just also Crit Mastery pants, and I should have definitely catalyzed them and not these Veteran Track Shoulders. But also, it doesn't matter. I'm getting another Catalyst charge next week anyways, and I can fix it then if I get some good shoulders, which I'm about to not get. Okay, some Crit Haste boots, though. Can't be too sad about that. I also did a Heroic Clear on this guy, but we're not going to take anything on the hero track here. Ooh, even though there's a nice, 40 Runed Crests and Leech save here, but I would have to catalyze this, which I don't think I have a Catalyst charge right now due to the aforementioned Veteran Track incident. This is a nice crest save, though, as well. We're upgrading 649 to 662 here, so we're saving crests, and we're getting a nice eye-level bump on the boots. At some point, we can maybe catalyze these for better stats. Crit Mastery is mostly what we're looking for. A little bit of haste, though, is not the end of the world on Assassination. Yeah, grab that, put on Scout's March, and call it a day. Scout's March. One of these. And yeah, item level is starting to look pretty good here on this guy as well. 654. The heroic raid that I ran didn't really give me... I didn't get any tier out of it, but I got my Catalyst charge. And I got a bunch of runed crests as well, so... Yeah, I have 120 runed now. I'm kind of trying to save them until I can... I'm trying to get... If I can do a little bit of M+ and get a few 655s in some of these slots, then I can upgrade the rest all up to 658, and we can be all set. But yeah, it's going to depend on getting some keys done on this guy, which obviously I have a lot of characters, so doing keys on any one of them is sometimes a tall order. So it's a lot easier to just do kind of one per week and then hope that the vault comes by and really bails you out. Here's my Priest. My Priest did a heroic as well last week and got extremely lucky. There was like a sprocket kill we did, and I got 3 pieces of loot from it, and that has enabled me to get to full 4-piece. Yeah, I've got full 4-piece, hero, myth, hero, champ for catalyzed. And then I've got veteran pants, but I didn't catalyze them on this guy. So yeah, the only thing that's holding us back from being full 658 on this character is pants. So if we could get pants Myth Track in the M plus row on this vault, we will be really happy. Otherwise, a good trinket would be pretty good. Unfortunately, we've got a weapon here, a dagger. That's pretty unfortunate because I already have a crafted two-hander in here. The dagger stats are pretty good, but I think I'm not going to take that. There's not pants here either, so we'd be talking about doing a champion to myth track upgrade in these slots. Or champion to hero, rather, upgrade in these slots. Yeah, nothing exciting there. All right, we're going to take a socket. Yeah, a little bit of a sad vault here for the priest. But again, even though it looks like I had a lot of options, I really wasn't trying to take anything out of the raid slots there. So it was kind of just that one roll in the M plus slots there. There were a lot of decent upgrades we could have found. The only real jackpot that we missed on, though, was pants. But we can still put a socket to good use here in these 675 bracers. And maybe I'll just craft pants. Craft pants for eye level. That's a decent thing to do. And it's a good use of crests, and it will get me that achievement, which lets me then upgrade my runes into gildeds. Okay, let's get an onyx on our character, so a quick onyx. And then we can get more value out of our elusive blasphemite. Because, yeah, some of my characters, the gem situation's a little griefed because I, set it up before getting Circe Circlet, and then I didn't really fix it after replacing a ring with Circe Circlet. But yeah, here we are, 660 on this guy. All looking pretty good. Yeah, very geared. That's my most geared non-tank is my priest by quite a bit there at 660. All right, here's my Evoker. We've gone from my most geared non-tank to my least. This character is 646. I snuck it into a heroic Gallywix kill last week with my guild, but I didn't kill enough bosses in heroic to actually get any raid slots, so we've just got one key slot in the vault. Would really like to see shoulders, gloves, something that I can catalyze there. Failing that, or actually even better than that, would be something like a Signet of the Priory, just a good trinket, because as you can see right now, my trinkets are quite suspicious. Ooh, this is a monkey's paw curl situation here. The Synergistic Brutalizer. This backfill barrel is pretty annoying to get good use out of. I guess I can just always tab it in Azure Closet, so maybe that's okay. It's possible that the energy drink, a leech hero track energy drink. I mean, this is the best possible energy drink you could get. It's possible I'll take one of those. I'm going to take a quick look at what dev evokers are using and see if this makes sense. All right, looking at it some more, I do think the energy drink is probably a little bit better of a trinket. I don't think it's worth justifying the item level loss, taking it over the Brutarializer. I always thought this was Brutalizer, but yeah, Brutarializer. I think I'm going to take this stupid trinket. I can get a champion track or hero track energy drink just from delves, so even though it's in the vault, the delves seem to drop their trinkets quite a lot as well. So I bet I can get my hands on an energy drink kind of anyways, and then I could upgrade it up to 658, and it'll be basically the same as this, because I'm probably not putting gildeds in this for a while anyways. So yeah, we'll take the Brutarializer, replace this stupid amorphous relic. Get a big item level jump, the item level stuff to help me get invited to things on this character if I try to get invited to anything. Yeah, I don't know, a little bit of a dud vault there, but it's definitely better than a socket. The energy drink, I don't know. I just have an aversion to taking hero track whenever I can take, myth track, unless that item would be like if the energy drink was like Biss, that'd be a different story. But it's mastery. Mastery's not that hot on Dev Evoker anyways. It's not bad, but I think crit is the stat we'd be most looking for. So yeah, we're gonna feel a little bit bad about it. We're gonna take the Brutarializer, and hopefully it's not too annoying to play around. Okay, here's my Destro Lock 654. Also approaching Harbinger or Rune to the Undermine. It's weird that they changed that achievement from they moved the runes carved whatever from the end of it to the beginning of it this patch. So it went from Harbinger of the Ruined to Ruined of the Undermine. It's so weird. I guess Undermine of the Ruined wouldn't make any sense. So, fair enough. I would really like to see a necklace on this character. That would be the best thing we could find. Failing that, gloves, pants, chest piece, helmet, all pretty good. Gloves, okay, yeah, gloves are fine. I did say gloves. That was probably the worst of the things that I said, but I did say it, and here it is. So we'll take those operator's mitts and be reasonably happy with it. Champion to Champion to Myth track plus a bunch of crest saved on that as well. It's crit verse, so we're losing a nice verse haste piece to get a slightly worse crit verse piece. Because I desperately need haste on this character. I wonder what the gloves catalyze into. I don't think it's haste. Yeah, it's verse crit as well. Nor do I even have a catalyst charge right now. So yeah, my character's kind of in the this is a bad amount of haste to have for a Warlock. Destro is the spec that it's least bad to have this little haste on, but it's still not great. I would like a lot more haste on this character. But I can't do that. I guess the way that I can do that is I'll probably craft a 675 haste necklace, and that will solve multiple problems that this character currently has. So that'll be good at least. Once I get my gildeds from my delves this week, I can probably do that on that guy. And then finally, yeah, I don't think I have any characters besides this one. My hunter. So my hunter is actually reasonably geared. I did a heroic run on this character, and I've been playing marksmanship on it. I was playing serve on it last season. I switched over to playing marksmanship this season on this character. I know Beast Mastery is kind of the easier one right now, but I haven't played marksmanship in ages, so I wanted to play some of that this season. The good news is marksmanship and Beast Mastery gear pretty much the same. Like, both of them are crit mastery, kind of, so it'll be easy to swap between both. But for right now, I'm just trying to learn a little bit of marks. I've been playing Sentinel marks as well. I want to learn Dark Ranger, too. But yeah, I'm trying to make sure that my knowledge of how all the specs work stays up, because that's my job. So, ring would be good. Necklace would be good. Failing that, a bow, I guess, would be fine, or a gun, even though I crafted into this slot. You know, eventually I'd like 678 there. Cloak would represent a nice item level jump. And then chest piece, helmet, you know, pants, all would be good. Eye level as well. So yeah, one of those. A good trinket, you know, Signal of the Priory. Something like that. Oh, I don't think I want to charge Stormrook Plume. Am I in loot spec serve? I think I am. Yeah, I'm in serve loot spec. Because I think this is a melee trinket. Yeah. Oh, man. Crashing down on target location. Yeah, I don't think that's really an option that we're considering here. So I guess that means we're going... I mean, this is a big eye level jump to go with the championship ring. Am I really taking a socket over either of these? Oh, man, the semi-charmed amulet. That's such a nice... Because I think this is pretty good for, like, BM as well. Haste crit. I mean, the thing is, I can craft into ring and necklace. One of them I could do 675. The other I could do 658 this week. So maybe I will do that, and maybe I should just take the socket then. Because these are just hero track, right? Like, they look good. They're big upgrades right now. The stats are good. Both of these have good stats. But I could make whatever stats I want on my piece. I think I want mastery. I don't think I want haste as much. I think I want a little bit more haste than 8%. I don't know. I'll run some sims, but I think I'm going to take a socket. Because these items are good, but they're hero track. Hero track is stupid. I hate it. I'm taking the socket. The socket is, medium to long term. Going to be better for me. I have a good target to socket right now. And then what do I have? I have a bunch of deadly onyxes. Let's make a masterful ruby. Get a little bit more of the crit effect. Again, this is the sort of thing where you'd usually just run a sim to make these decisions, but I'm running a Feelycraft sim in my head and then factoring in how much different things annoy me and making decisions based off of that. That's my prerogative on these characters that don't matter and are just for fun and for learning specs. So, yeah, don't do that. If you're a main hunter, you need to make slightly different decisions than I do. And even on my tanks, right? Like this week, I took the House of Cards on my DK. That's something I would not be allowed to do if progression was still underway. But progression is done, so I can do whatever I want. And I wanted to take that cool trinket. So yeah, that's this week. Couple of sockets this week. We're starting to see. I mean, I think realistically, the takeaway is just that I got lucky in previous weeks to not have to take a socket yet. This week I had to take a few sockets. It's a combination of being slightly unluckier, having slightly less vault slots, because last week I had a lot of double Mythic Plus rows, and this week a lot more single Mythic Plus rows, so my chances were a little bit worse this week on that end. And then I also have more gear on my characters, so there's more slots that I could find something that wasn't an upgrade in. But I also got a lot of stinky trinkets this week, right? Like I got just shown a lot of bad trinkets from my vault, which I just was kind of lucky to not have that happen until now. So yeah, a little bit of everything leading to this week's vaults being a little bit worse than last week's. Not a big deal though. Still got some good items. Again, a House of Cards on my DK. That's a pretty exciting drop. Didn't really get any huge exciting main spec drops. And a lot of I ended up taking a lot of like gloves and belts and stuff and boots that are lower stat budget slots as well. So yeah, definitely a little bit of a worse week, but that's the joy of the Great Vault, right? You can't have exciting weeks if you can't also have unexciting weeks. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope your vaults were good. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.